Okay, so today we're doing 10-2, it's Pythagorean Theorem. I have a picture down here of a right triangle. And our right triangle, we know it's a right triangle because it has the right angle at the corner. We have it labeled A, B, and C. C is our hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. I'm going to spell it out for you. Okay, so that's our hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the longest side. You can identify the hypotenuse because it's directly across from the right angle. Always the longest side. These two, the A and the B, they're known as the legs. This is a leg of the triangle, and this is the other leg of a triangle. The formula for the theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, now we're going to go through and do a few example problems on what is the length of the hypotenuse of the right triangle. And so here we have our hypotenuse is directly across from the right angle. So we're going to try to find out what c is equal to. Remember, our formula is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So I take my a, or one of my legs, and I take it and I put it as 9 squared. The other leg is 12, so I put that as 12 squared. This hypotenuse, or the c, is what we don't know. We're going to label that c squared because it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Then I just do the math. What's 9 times 9? 81, because I square 9. What's 12 times 12? 144. And then I have my c squared still. Okay, so then I'm going to add 144 and 81 together. And I did that, and it's 225. It's equal to c squared. Okay, I don't want to have c squared. I just want to know what the value of c is. So to undo a c squared, or a square, you take the square root. And if I take the square root of one side, I have to take the square root of the other side. So over here I just have my c. The square root of 225 is 15. So my value of my c is 15 centimeters. Okay, over here we don't have a picture. We have two values, and it says what's the hypotenuse, so that's what I'm asking for. So this is my a, this is my b, and I'm trying to find my c. Okay, so we have 7 squared plus 24 squared is equal to c squared. Okay, so I can do 7 times 7 is 49. And then I say 24 times 24 is, and I did that on a calculator. You can do it on the side, or if you have a calculator handy, go ahead and use it. Is 575, and I have my c squared. Then I add 576 plus 49, and I got 625. Again, I had a calculator handy, so I went ahead and used it. Is equal to c squared. Again, you don't want to know what c squared is, you want to know what c is. So I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides because I want to get rid of that c squared and just get c. Okay, the square root of 625 using a calculator is 25. And that's my answer for my c. So my c is 25 centimeters. Okay, number 3 is a little bit different. They gave us our b, and they gave us our c, which is our hypotenuse, but they didn't give me my a. So I'm going to try to find out what the a is. So I'm going to have a squared here, plus my b is 8, so it's 8 squared is equal to 10 squared. That's my c. Okay, so I have a squared, and 8 times 8 is 64, and then 10 times 10 is 100. Okay, I'm trying to solve for a, so I'm going to subtract 64 from both sides. Minus 64 Okay, and I need to move it down a little bit. So 100 minus 64 is, and I can do that on the side, or you can grab a calculator and do that, and it is 36. Let me find my cursor again, sorry. Where is my cursor? Okay, so it's 36. Okay, now I have a squared. I don't want a squared, I want a, so I take the square root of both sides. And so a is equal to 6. So my a is 6. Okay, next part. This part says determine, sorry about that, having a hard time this afternoon. Okay, this part says determine whether the given lengths can be B sides of a right triangle. Okay, so we've got our A, B, and C. Okay, again, how can you determine which one your C? Your C is your longest side. And A and B doesn't matter, but I'll go ahead and put them in this order. So I have 5 squared plus 12 squared is equal to 13 squared. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the math. 5 times 5 is 25. 12 times 12 is 144. 13 times 13 is 169. Then I do the math and I add these together. 5 and 4 is 9. 4 and 2 is 6. And it's 169. If they are equal to each other, which these are, this is a right triangle. Okay? So that's how you determine if it's a right triangle. Once you do the math and they're equal to each other, it's a right triangle. So let's try number 5 and then we're done for this lesson. Not too bad. I think it's something you remember from last year. We've got 7 squared plus 9 squared is equal to 12 squared. Remember, I know this is my C because it's my longest side. And then I choose both of these to be whichever one it is. So I've got 7 times 7 is 49, plus 9 times 9 is 81, 12 times 12 is 144, so I can do those quickly in my head. I add these together. 9 and 1 is 10. Carry the 1. I have, there's 9. 9 plus 4 is 13, so 130 is 130 equal to 144, and it is not, so therefore this one is not equal, so it's not a right triangle. And that's how you determine if it's a right triangle or not. If they end up being equal to each other, like 169 and 169, it is a right triangle, and if they are not equal to each other, like 130 is not equal to 144, it is not a right triangle. Okay, so that is 10-2, the Pythagorean Theorem.